Well, welcome to this episode of Sooner Legends Podcast. I'm your host, Mike the Legend. And if you don't mind, if you're new to the family, new to the channel, hop down, hit that red subscriber button, turn on your post notification bells. That way you won't miss any of this goodness. Don't forget to give us a like and a comment. It helps push the algorithm of YouTube and share it with your friends. I've got a special co host with me today. We got Mike Boganowski Sr., father of soon to be legend Michael Boganowski Jr., and horns down. So, Mike, as I told you a while ago, uh, I got a clip of Barry Switzer since it's throwback. Well, yeah, here it is. And I think we're going to let him get this party started with this little speech, brother.
Let's do it.
Big Eight Conference. For the last 14 years, we win today. We'll have won 11 Big Eight Conference championships. Everybody reading the Southwest Conference, they talk about Texas in the last 10, 12 years has won 2 Southwest Conference. Houston 3. A&M finally won them 1 in 18 years. People don't know what it is to be champions. Oklahoma invented it.
Classic.
Boy, does that get your blood pumping, Mike?
Yeah, I like that. Oklahoma invented. That's a quality line right there.
That is a quality line. Well, Mike, like I told you back in the green room, we're gonna barely touch on Temple, and I was going to get some of your thoughts of that coming out of that game. What you saw, what you liked, what you disliked, just your overall analysis of the game last Friday.
I'm not an overreactor. I thought overall we took care of business. We got the dub. Granted, there's a couple of things that I think we should have been able to run the ball a little bit more effectively. But like I said, first game of the year, not too terribly worried about it. They'll get it figured out. Offense, they had a short field a lot. Everybody saw, the offense didn't do this, didn't do that. But you have to realize that, we took the ball away from them 6 times and left them with a short field. So it wasn't like we were forcing them to punt and, we were going where the offense had to go 80, 90 yards to score. They were getting the ball midfield and in. So, I'm not too worried about that on the offensive side. And, the defense looks solid. Creating havoc, creating turnovers, limiting big plays. So, overall, I thought it was a great performance. And, I was pleased. And I don't think there's room for concern. Now, we got to – there's some stuff that's got to get fixed, no doubt. But, that's every team in the nation. Everybody's got something to fix after week 1.
Yeah, they do, Mike.
I'm not overly concerned at all.
No, I'm not either. I mean, coming out of Friday's game, there was a lot of knee-jerk reactions in Sooner Nation, particularly about the O-line. But you know what, Mike? We got Bill Bedenbaugh.
Yeah.
He's going to get it figured out. I mean, he's got Saturday and then against Tulane to get it tuned up for Tennessee, and Bill Bedenbaugh's going to have it figured out. Yeah,
I'm not. We got a lot of dinged up guys, a lot of guys. I mean, it is what it is. I don't know if that's an excuse, but we still should have been able to run the ball more effectively and more efficiently, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I don't know if you caught Seth Luttrell's post game conference or not, but he said they run a very vanilla playbook, and so it is what it is, Mike.
I mean, vanilla, or vanilla with chocolate and strawberries and whipped cream on top. Like, it don't matter. In my opinion, it don't matter. Even your most vanilla plays, you block it right, you should technically, make a big play. And
you are correct, Mike. Go ahead.
I'm not worried about. I don't know. I'm not saying it's an excuse because you still should have ran the ball whenever you wanted on them.
Yeah. Taylor Tatum showed some flashes in that game.
Look good now.
Yeah,
Look
he's
good.
every bit as advertised.
Look
And
good.
and Javonte Barnes had some pretty good flashy moments himself. But like Steve G down here in the comments says, I mean, DeMarco, he was suspended for that one game, and you know, it is what it is. We got the dub 51-3. Let's move
Yeah.
on to Houston. Temples
Yeah. It's all that
Temples in
matters.
the Temples in the rear view mirror.
Yeah.
And but I'm gonna kind of touch on the defense before we jump into other things. That defensive line was smoking
Yeah.
Friday night.
Yeah. A lot
I
of lot of butt whooping going on.
yeah, I mean Jaden Jackson, G baby. I mean Dominic Williams, Marcus Strong. I mean they had a daggone field day.
Yeah. Yeah. It, it was.
And but anyway, Mike, we got Houston coming up this Saturday. What's your thoughts on this game coming up Saturday, Mike?
Um. I think we come in and we work on our things and play like we did against Temple. I think it could be another game that could be over at halftime. And
Yeah.
and if there's one thing that I know about Coach Venables, he's not going to take them lightly.
Mm-mm.
So I'm not worried. I'm not worried about us overlooking them, and them coming in and shocking us. But we got to take them serious.
Yeah.
Their head coach is a good ball coach. They might have had a bad week
Yeah.
last week against UNLV. Hey, and to be honest with you, UNLV is a pretty good team. I mean, they went to a bowl game last year. I think they lost. Did they lose to Kansas? If I'm not mistaken, I think they lost to Kansas. That was a hell of a bowl game.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I mean, we need to take them serious, and we need to come out and execute, and take care of business. But I think we should beat them handily.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. I think so too, Mike. And like you said, I mean, we can't take Houston lightly. They could have had a bad game against UNLV. I mean, I don't know. I haven't followed Houston that closely over the years. I
Yeah,
think they've lost some major players. Uh,
yeah, they had a lot of turnover. Had a lot of turnover.
and
New coach, new staff.
yeah, so like I said, Mike, we just can't take them lightly. We're gonna go out there and handle business. And I look for Jackson Arnold to have even a better game than he had last Friday.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
because if you looked at that game Friday, Mike, some of his completed passes, he was getting shots taken and still putting the ball accurately in his receiver's hands.
yeah, yeah. He
I
he
mean,
he. I mean, I think they said there was 4 drops.
mm-hmm.
I mean, that puts him at 21 to 25 for the game. So, I mean, that's a hell of a complete. I'm no mathlete, but that's up there. It's close to 90, 85, 90% completion
Yeah,
rate.
yeah. Them
More,
drop passes. Which you're no football player, Mike. You know it. The old saying, if the ball hits you in the hands, you got to catch it.
yeah,
So, but I wasn't hard on them receivers for dropping because one, it's game one. You're knocking off some rust from the spring game, fall camp, all of that, and you're finally playing in front of 80,000 plus. There's going to be a little rust you got to kick off, and as good as I do, Mike, that especially on that receiver position, it's not a matter if, it's a matter when you're going to drop passes.
yeah. It happens. It
It
happens.
happens.
Some of it may be focus. Some of it may be first game jitters.
Hmm.
Uh, Maybe taking your eyes off the ball, trying to peek to where the defender is. Who knows? But I mean, it could be a multitude of those things. But it's we gotta put it in the rear view, and we gotta make sure it doesn't happen again this week. It can't happen again.
Exactly. Exactly. And now that DeMarco's back on the sideline, I look for us to step a running game up another level.
Yeah.
So,
Um. I you know I think that's going to be an emphasis this week.
hmm
On Saturday night. I think that the emphasis is going to be to run the ball and run it effectively.
Mm-hmm.
And hey man, that freshman Tatum, he's putting pressure on these cats now.
He is.
I mean,
He is.
he's applying pressure, and he's making it competitive. So now that these guys got to step up, and
Yeah, because
that just makes it better. It makes our running game and our numbers go up because now
exactly.
you got this young bull coming in, ripping off 30, 40 yarders. So
and
you're
and
up.
most of them runs he made, that was him. That had nothing to do with the O line or any. That was just him.
I like his running style, man. He's a north south kind of guy and won't make you miss and go. I like that.
I
I
do
like
too.
that one cut back, man. He looks good doing that. I liked it. I haven't seen too much. I saw a little bit of his highlight tape, but I haven't seen much of him. But yeah, I was really impressed the other night when he got the ball in his hands. Looks good.
Yeah, yeah. He was every bit of advertised. And one thing I noticed in that Houston game, they lost what 27-7, I think it
Yeah,
was that the final score was,
yeah,
and they're gonna have to have some continuity to come to Norman Saturday night and make a showing
yeah,
because you know I tell you what's impressed me so far, Mike, and this is just one game. I know it's Temple, I get
yeah,
all that, but how about Zach Alley and his play calling?
yeah. I mean, he's living up to the hype, right?
Yeah, he is.
You almost kind of see why BV went and got him.
Hmm. He's
And
he's just a miniature version of BV.
yeah, it's just an extension of him. He knows what he wants, knows what to call. Kind of thinks the same way. It's starting to the picture is starting to be clear.
Hmm.
It's starting to become relevant why BV went and got him.
Yeah, yeah, and but like I said, I look for OU's defense in this game to be stronger than what we was against Temple.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah,
that's from all phases. D line, linebackers, uh, secondary. Yeah, they're gonna get stronger. And I tell you what, that doggone Kobe McKenzie, my God.
yeah. He looks good. Hey man, he looks good, man. I didn't realize how big he was. And he walked right by his, the Walk of Champions, and yeah, man, he looks good. He's a good looking kid, man. He's nice and stout and just looks like a ball player.
I mean, Smitty has got these guys looking like they're chiseled out of granite.
Yeah, yeah.
My God.
Schmitty's got the magic formula. He knows what it is, knows what to do, knows how to get the most out of them.
Yeah. Yeah. And I am so glad Smitty's back on the coaching staff with strength and conditioning. Mike, you ain't going to believe this, but I've been seeing a lot online, and you can take online chatter for what it's worth. Probably a bunch of trolls and keyboard Rambos, etc.
Yeah,
But they're saying that Smitty is the reason our players are getting injured.
yeah. I have seen a little bit of that. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, overwork, overuse, maybe. Now this is my thought now, and this is just Mike Boganowski Sr.'s take. I don't think they go hard enough in fall camp prior to game days. They're not, in my opinion, they're not conditioning their bodies for football.
Exactly.
I just think there's not enough practices in contact practices and hitting and making toughening period. That's just my opinion. I think they go their off seasons and stuff. They go all in, but you can't replicate football by not playing football. You know what I mean? in order to get in football shape,
Exactly.
you have to play
Exactly.
football and toughen your body up to that, that constant contact. And to me, I think that's just a little
Exactly,
bit
Mike.
of what it is. And that's like, again, that's just me. I'm not talking best on Schmitty. I think he's the man. I think he knows exactly what needs to be done, and he's doing a great job. Now, who's to say if we were playing Tennessee or this was the first, how many of these guys would have played? You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? How many of these guys would
Yeah,
have played?
because I mean, I seen another podcast, and OU played what 84 players Friday night.
Yeah,
That
I think that's what I saw too.
and we say this all the time in chat. I don't. Well, I got it here. Uh, Mike already took his drink, but you're starting to see that competitive depth in.
I'll do another one.
But you're starting to see that competitive depth that Brent is always talking about. You seen a flash of it
Yeah,
Saturday night, and that rotation is just insane.
yeah.
That Brent is running in and out.
And you know what? I hope we can keep it. And that's just gonna help us. Um, we got one more. We just got to keep that depth throughout the season because that football
Exactly.
season's long. SEC, is the gauntlet. So we just need to keep those guys available and keep praying and knocking on wood for these guys' health.
Right, because if there's one thing in football that will
Oh, I think we lost. I think we lost the legend. Chicken. Who wins, Mike B? You or your son? Daddy Stutz said he has one more left in the tank for Danny. It's a good question, man. Here's one thing I do know. Here's one thing I do know. My son doesn't know how to fight, right? Like he may think he knows how to fight. He might be able to throw some hands or whatever, but listen, you got but one to land on me, and I'm taking you to the ground. All right, I've done my army combatives. I'm done. Level 2, and I've done a lot of that stuff. So if it comes down to the come down, I think I got him. Now, is he bigger, stronger, and faster than I am right now? Hell yeah. But guess what? Hey, and if guess what? He starts whooping me too bad, I'm fighting dirty.
that
Fighting dirty.
in a roundabout way. That's I had Steve Stutzman on the show the other day,
Yeah,
and
that's what Chicken asked. Chicken asked that question right
yeah, yeah, and so, I think it was Chicken that asked that question to Steve Stutzman out of Danny and Steve, who would take who. He said, "Well, I got one more left for Danny, but he's got that. He's been Smitty built, so don't think for 1 minute if there's a 2 before laying beside me, he gonna get it upside down."
Yeah, and even when Mike, was freshman, sophomore year, he'd always come and you know, try to be aggressive with me, and I'd have to show him you ain't there yet. You know what I mean? You got a lot of don't this old man strength you're dealing with right now. You got a little testosterone flowing through your veins right now. You feeling yourself, but I got that old man strength. And now, guess what? Now I'm dealing with my middle one, Marcus. He's a sophomore now, so now he wants to try to test me. So yeah, I got one more. I got one more after him. So
Oh Lord, I bless you, Mike. My hat's off to you, buddy.
yeah. Hey, and if all else fails, I got guns.
If it comes down to the nut cutting, you'll just break out of pew.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mike, I'm there's some things I'm going to be looking for Saturday. I'm going to be looking for the run game. Uh, I'm going to be looking for if our O line got a little tighter over the week. You know, and they didn't play too bad Saturday, Mike. I mean, it wasn't it wasn't bad at all. And if you looked at that game, we were playing pretty sharp up until Hickman went out of the game with an injury. I mean, we was
Yeah,
when Bryson
they'll be
Hickman went
okay.
out.
I think they'll be. I think Sexton coming back is going to help a lot.
Mm-hmm. And my boy, the Haitian law firm EPL, got some playing time in
Hey,
that game. Boy,
he's going to have a hard. In my opinion, they're going to have a hard time keeping him out of the rotation.
yeah. How can
He's only going to get better.
yeah? How can a guy his size running track in 100-meter dash and making them little guys just look stupid?
Yeah, Taylor. My bad. I'm sorry, Jake Taylor.
Yeah, but like I said, Mike, I mean, I'm not going to use this term that there was a lot of meat left on the bone on offensive line Saturday. But, we had some woes. Our third down efficiency wasn't good. But, hey, when you're taking the ball away and you get 6 turnovers, and, hey, we got a field goal kicker now.
Yeah. Hey, that can't be stated how big that is.
Oh, my God. I was on another podcast. As a matter of fact, it was Steve's podcast, or Steve, when he was on my show the other day. I said when they trotted him out for that 50-yarder, my heart dropped. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
And then
I didn't realize it was a 50-yarder when he kicked it, and I looked at my son and I said, "Dang, that," because I think that was the one that was kicked right on our end of the. When I was where I was sitting, I was like, "Dang, that looked like that could have been good from 50." And my son, who I think, Cameron, my fifth grader, I don't know what he's thinking or if he's paying attention at all. And I was like, "Damn, Cam, I think that could have been from 50." He's like, "Dad, it was 50." And I was like, "Really?" And I looked, oh yeah, he was paying attention. And I was like, "All right, could have been good from 55. How about that?"
yeah, he's got a leg.
Yeah.
I mean, he hit a 50, a 42, and a 24-yarder Friday. And I state this all the time. I mean, we can talk offense, defense all along, but that field goal kicker, if you don't got it, boy, that can win or lose you some games.
Yeah, and I think it's good he's making field goals and all that stuff, but I want to see the big pressure kicks. I want to see those like we need this, for a good solid 45-yard field goal, to take the lead, in the fourth quarter. That's when I'm like, okay, we got us a kicker now. And when he's nails, he's nails and in the clutch. Yeah, that's when I'll sign off.
Yeah. I agree I agree with that too, Mike. Because if you look at them last 2 field goals we made, the second one, the holder, there was a little pause because he mishandled the snap.
Yeah, he still got it.
And if that would have been a more aggressive team block, it'd have been blocked or something. But
yeah.
But I'm like you. We need to get some big games under our belt with actual pressure coming at us. Like the big boys. And but it was refreshing to see that we do have a better field goal kicker.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's I think it's a good thing, man. And it's gonna pay dividends. These SEC games aren't going to be four-score games. They're going to come down to who's got the ball last and can drive down and kick a field goal. And
exactly.
I think that plus minus of having a good quality field goal kicker, your plus minus, for wins only gets higher. When you have a good quality clutch kicker. So I think that'll help.
I've been trying to convince the younger Sooner generation who hasn't grew up who was actually started being fans during the Lincoln Riley era. I keep telling them, guys, this ain't going to be a race to 50 no more without a defense. We got a defense, and we're going to get in some games where our offense might be struggling a little bit. And we got a defense now that can step up, show off, and show out. Keep, to win us the game.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've seen a lot of talk seen a lot of talk about the defense, trying to set a sack record this week because
Mhm.
the kind of the take on Houston's O line is they're not very good, and hopefully, I think the sack record was 9. I think I heard
Mhm.
Teddy and Gabe talking about it earlier in the week. So I don't know. I think that'd be kind of cool. I think it's possible. We got some
Yeah.
dudes, and I think it's possible.
Exactly, Mike. I mean, what I'm like I said, if you're I'm going to be looking for the defense Saturday to be stronger than they were uh, the last Friday. I'm going to be looking for, like I said, Jackson Arnold. We're probably going to see a different game Saturday than we did Friday night. Is
Yeah.
my assumption. And I want also another thing. I want. How about Jaron Canick and that scoop and score on that block?
Yeah. Big
You
time.
know, and to see Danny Stutzman over there hugging his neck, and you know that was that was probably the one confidence booster that Jaron Canick needed.
Yeah.
You know,
I think he had a good spring too, and I think when you
yeah,
start stacking, good, stacking spring and summer, it shows on the playing field. And like I said, I think he's gonna have a big year, and
I do too, Mike.
he had, and big year. I mean, big year. Like I'm not saying he's gonna go out and be on the bucket list or anything like that, but I think he's gonna have a great year,
Mm-hmm.
and he just had to figure it out. He playing linebacker at a big time school is not easy.
No.
Um, and I don't know if I realized that. I think I might have talked about that last time, how confusing and all these different rules and coverages, and you can keep that. And I don't see how anybody's successful playing linebacker in today's game, to be honest with you. Like
Oh yeah,
it had my head spinning. So I
yeah.
mean, I think it just took a little time to understand. And now that he's confident in what he's doing, he can play a little bit faster. And I think all that leads to success for Kanik.
It sure does, Mike. And everybody goes back to last year. He missed some plays. Da 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 da. Uh, you know, but the but but the young man's athleticism cannot be questioned.
Yeah. No, he's a hell of an athlete now.
Not and you being from Kansas, I don't know if you seen him when he was playing high school ball up there or not, but I went back and watched some of his high school stuff, and my God, it was just mind boggling.
Yeah. Yeah. He looked good, man. He looked good in high school. He's bigger and faster than everybody out there, so nobody could tackle him.
Yeah.
He looked good.
Well, Mike, I tell you what, brother. I mean, it's. I know that we're still in our softest schedule of the season, but I'm liking what I'm seeing so far.
Yeah,
All in all,
there's a lot to be happy about,
yeah.
and just not getting complacent and coming to work and continuing to get better, and just following the lead of your head coach and your position coaches and still being coached. It's only one game. I'm sure
Mhm.
these dudes, these players ain't got their heads all swole up with success or whatever, but BV ain't gonna let that happen. So yeah,
Mm-mm.
they're just gonna keep getting better,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's good.
BV has that 0-1 men. You win one next week, you're 1-0,
Yeah.
1-0. You know, so he tries to keep their heads from swelling up and overlooking. And I'm going to touch just real briefly on this. Michigan and Texas is playing this weekend, and
Yeah.
everybody was saying that Michigan wasn't looking that good in their game last Saturday. But I tell you what, Mike, you've seen this. I've seen it. Uh, I think Michigan was kind of overlooking the team they was playing because they know they got Texas coming up to the big house the next week.
Yeah, they had some they looked like they had some little quarterback issues, man. They couldn't couldn't find a guy, or maybe they're going two quarterback system. Maybe I don't know. But I listen, man. We're gonna see what Texas's defense is really about.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan's, they're going to pound the rock. They're going to run the rock, and we're going to get a pretty good idea of who Texas is next week. And
Yeah, and I like this. I
I
like
saw
this.
some. Go ahead.
This is my buddy Shotty. He's a former wide receiver for Georgia during Quincy Carter and when Kirby Smart was linebacker back in the 90s. And he says just right, perfectly. You guys need to stay healthy during these 3 games before the grind picks up. That I couldn't agree with you more, brother.
Yeah, that's what we talked about earlier, right? We got that depth. We got a couple waves of players we can bring in, and we just need to be able to sustain that, because that's what's going to lead to success down in these conference games.
Yeah, and I've heard Shotty talk about this. If it was Georgia, Oklahoma, but that's what I was kind of phrasing him that attrition will make you or break you during the season.
Yep, that's a fact. That is a
Go ahead,
fact.
go ahead, talk for a little bit, Mike. I got to plug in my batteries going down.
No problem. Yeah, hey, Stephen G. I did see that they weren't able to touch the Colorado State quarterback. I did see that. I didn't realize that. That was actually pretty crazy. I didn't know that took. I kind of watched some of that game the other night, but I didn't watch all of it. So yeah, I kind of watched. I think I might have watched the first half and then maybe went to something else because it kind of got out of control. Maybe I flipped over to the Nebraska UTEP game. Can't remember. But yeah, we're gonna see. We're gonna see that.
Yeah,
That's up in Ann Arbor, right? That's up in Michigan.
yeah, yeah.
Oh
That's
yeah,
at Ann Arbor at the big house.
yeah.
It's going to be interesting.
What time is that
Do
at?
what?
What time is that game?
I haven't even looked yet, Mike.
I'm about to look it up
Shotty, do
right
you
now.
know? Oh, okay.
Yeah, we gotta figure that out. 11 a.m.
Oh, early kickoff.
Early kickoff. Good. I might be I'll be on the road down to Norman, so I'll probably have to, or I might pull over and make my wife drive and watch this on my phone.
but like I said, I mean, as and I'm not saying this as a Sooner fan, but I hate to give credit where credit is due, but Texas could be a could be that potential team this year. And I'm just throwing, I'm horns down all day long, but seeing what I'm seeing, they will open my eyes if they beat Michigan. I'll just say that, Mike.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't think they're made up that of the same up front. I don't think they're built the same, and I think Texas is going to have a hard time stopping the run. I think they're going to have a hard time running the ball. I don't think it'll be ugly, but I think it'll be a convincing. It kind of be like that Penn State game last year where they didn't throw the ball once, but pretty much whooped them. Had the ball the whole game. I kind of that's how I see it playing out.
Yeah.
We'll see though.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, Mike, you played the game. Shotty's played the game. You just don't know until that final click takes off the clock.
Yeah.
We can sit here and play a guessing game all day long, but until that final second clicks off the clock, you just don't know. But anyway, getting back to Oklahoma, I really do like where Brent Venables is taking this program. And not only in recruiting, Uh, but the culture he has built back here at OU, because you know as good as I do, Mike, when he arrived in Norman, he had to build a new foundation, new house. Our cupboards were bare. He had to start raw boned. And I just feel with what he has going on here at Oklahoma, I feel that's going to take us to the next level, and Brent is the right guy to do it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
you've been around Brent,
Yeah.
and you know the man personally, and
Mm.
you and I have talked about this. His culture and the way he treats his players, is second to none in college football.
Yeah, he's the real deal. Is everything I don't know, he's just kinda it's as from a parent's aspect and like that, he's everything you could want in a coach for your kid. And
Hmm.
I think that's probably the easiest way to say it. And without talking for 5 minutes, but yeah, I just think he's exactly the type of guy I would want my son to go play for.
Yeah, I mean, a good not analogy, but a good example I use is Brent's first year going 6-7, and you have to go into a recruit's house and sell a 6-7 program that you went to the previous year and get the recruits that he got that year, and still recruiting at another top 10
Yeah,
class. That says volumes,
yeah,
Mike.
yeah. Well, I think it's a testament of what him and his staff and the program are trying to, or what they are, the standard they're setting at the university. It's not just about football. It's just not about NIL. That's still, contrary to popular belief, some of that stuff still interests kids in families. It's not all
Hmm.
about rankings and Lamborghinis and NIL money. Some people are still interested in education.
Hmm.
Some people are still interested in developing young kids into man, and I just think it's college football has kind of gone away from that,
Yeah.
and I still think you see Coach Venables and what the type of program he is. He's not just all in on one thing. He still keeps some of that in his as the cornerstone of his program. And they're just not abandoning it. You can still be interested in the NIL game. You could still be, having Lambos and stuff up there. But guess what, man? It's still at the heart and soul of college football is the student
Right.
athlete. And
Exactly.
I feel like we kind of lost sight of that a little bit. But at the end of the day, these kids are still going to school. Yeah, they might be making a lot more money nowadays, but guess what? They're still going to school, and they still got to leave school. And football will stop at some point for them. It stops for everybody. Not
Yeah.
everybody's Tom Brady, and
Right.
it's still stopped for him, even at in his late 40s. But
Hmm.
you're still going to have to go out into the world, and you just can't be a dumb jock and move out into the world. You have to be a contributing member to society. You have to be relate to people. You have to learn how to communicate. Network, do all this stuff. You can't just be a gamer. And play
Exactly.
football.
Exactly. Well, Mike, speaking of that, of the NIL and the transfer portal, I caught a sports talk the other day, and it made sense. These guys that hits the transfer portal year after year after year after year after year, chasing the bag or whatever it may be.
Yeah,
When the smoke settles and the dust clears in their twilight years, what college can they call home?
yeah. I don't think they can. I don't think
You
they can
know,
call anywhere home.
yeah. I
But
mean,
you know what? That if they running from problems and they go from school to school, I mean they haven't made a home. So I mean
exactly.
they're if you're not willing to sacrifice, man, if you're not willing to struggle and put in the work and dedicate yourself to something, what do you got in life? You know what I mean? If
Exactly.
if you just want everything, and you've heard Coach Venable say it, and I love this quote about him. they're not giving handouts. Everything is earned.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't earned it, if you don't want to earn it, Oklahoma's not the place for you. You're going to have to come in and work and compete for a starting job. And it's just not everything's handed to them. And that's kind of on us as the older parenting generation. We're too easy on our kids, and we want to give them the quickest path to success.
Yeah.
And I get it. Trust me. And I've probably done it myself, but I want my kids to struggle. I want
Mm-hmm.
there to be adversity, and not everything can just be handed to them. And
Right.
in the instance of my oldest son, Michael, I mean, not everything he had to work, man.
Mm-hmm.
He had to go out and he had to play well and he had to put in the work because he's in the middle of nowhere, Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
And his sophomore year, he was nicked up a lot and didn't really have the type of year he wanted to. So, like I said, man, we got to dedicate ourselves and come out and be ready for your junior year and go get it,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what he did. And, it showed, I think it showed him, if you dedicate and you put your mind to it and set a goal and go after it and bust your butt and stay disciplined, that you can achieve your goal. And, I think, it was sometime in that September, of his junior year, before his junior year, when they could start calling. Like, he didn't get a call,
Mm-hmm.
and that motivated him. So I think, I think, it struggles good. Everybody needs to struggle. Everything just can't be handed to you on a silver platter, because then you got, in a situation, the seas get rough, you jump ship.
Ryman Lemon has a question for you, Mike. Which will anger you more, Mike getting a targeting call in his first start or excessive celebration call from starching the kid with the legal hit?
I like the starching. I like that. Probably an excessive celebration. You know, but I mean, they don't really call too many flags on excessive celebration in college football anymore. So I don't know. They let them talk. They let them do all kind of stuff these days. So I I don't like penalties anyway. I don't like when my son gets penalties. So
Yeah.
I think all penalties are created. They all anger me equally. Now, probably in a bigger moment, like if he gets a penalty in a big time, like, yeah, we're gonna have a problem. But I'll let the coaches
Yeah.
handle. I try not to get worried about it, and that's the one good
Mhm.
thing is I don't have, like, after games, I don't have to, like, dude, what were you thinking? Like after a high school game. Now I got the coaches. I got the coaches to do that. I don't have to worry about that after the game. I can give them a hug, tell them I'm proud of you, and then go hit a tailgate or go hit a bar down on campus corner for last call.
Oh, heck yeah.
I ain't got to worry about all that. I got the coaches. I got the coaches for that.
My OG member of SLP, Kimberly K, she asked you, does our program offer our athletes financial literacy? Literacy, I know the university just I don't have my glasses on, Mike.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I said I know the university does, but just wondering if families receive it as a part of the NIL contracting. So no, I mean, we talk about it, but it's not like we sit down and have a class. Um,
Mhm.
they obviously, these kids they're obviously aware that these kids are making a lot of money, so they're not just. It would be irresponsible of any university, and this is across the board. They all have financial literacy for the student athletes. Um, that's probably one of the biggest questions that was asked on recruiting trips, across everywhere.
Mhm.
Parents were onto this, like, what are we doing with our kids? We're not just handing them all this NIL money, and, like, are we teaching them to be responsible with it, and investing in taxes and all this stuff. So yeah, they take care of them, but no, there's nothing for the families. I think that's asking a lot. Um, for the university. I think that's asking a lot for them to train us up and give us classes on that. Um,
Right.
but yeah, they do make sure that universities do make make sure that student athletes are responsible with their money.
Exactly. But I tell you, man, Mike, I'm probably talking a dead horse here, but I tell you what, uh, getting Michael Fasusi, the big 5-star offensive lineman out of
Yes, sir.
Louisville, Texas, man, that was big time.
Yeah, big. Yeah, it's huge. He and it goes back to what I'm saying. It sounded like with Fasusi, he wanted to be developed. He wanted to go somewhere where he'd be taken care of and be developed and be the best person and player he could be. And that's what Oklahoma's about.
Yeah. I mean, a prime example, Mike, is Tyler Guyton, defensive lineman from transfer from TCU. Bill Bedenbow, when he gets to OU, puts him on the offensive line, and now his draft stock is the highest out of all the draftees from last draft in the NFL right now, playing for Dallas.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't know if you caught any Dallas preseason games, but man, Tyler looked sharp.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he looks good. Well, I'll keep an. I'm not a Cowboys fan per se, but I will definitely keep an eye on them, and I'm sure that's one good thing about Oklahoma Twitter is they'll if something good comes out about the PFF grades or something like that, they'll retweet them. So I'll see it for sure. My Sundays are dedicated to fantasy football and maybe a little DraftKings in Tampa Bay whenever they play. So I don't.
Well, Mike, as you're looking at a lifelong Sooner fan, I can say the same about the Dallas Cowboys because I grew up during the Roger Staubach era, and Tom Landry. So I still love my Cowboys, but anyway, getting back to Houston, Mike, do you foresee our receivers getting those first game jitters? Like Hester and Brendan Thompson. Do you see them guys kind of getting that first game jitter out of the way and really want to say, hey, Coach Jones, that was just a fluke?
I would hope so. And I think the coaching staff could maybe draw up an easy dink and dunk pass to him to get him acclimatized
Yeah,
to the game. Get him the ball, get
right.
him an easy pass, get the confidence, and then go from there. I think they know they messed
Ryman
up.
Lemon wants to know who has better barbecue: KC, Memphis, Nashville, Oklahoma, or Texas.
Good question. So I used to live in Nashville. I lived in Nashville. Um, that's when Michael was born. Michael was born in Nashville.
Oh wow!
So, yeah, he was born in Nashville. That's when I was at Fort Campbell, Kentucky.
Screaming Eagles.
Yeah, that's a good question, man.
Well, I think my
I
brother
don't
and
know
his best friend are listening to the show. I'm going to give him a plug. Y'all need to try my brother's barbecue before you make that assessment.
Listen, man,
Boy,
I don't know if I've ever met a barbecue I didn't like,
me
and
either.
and I don't know if that answers the question, but when I think about barbecue, I think of my time in Columbus, Georgia, and that yellow mustardy sauce, that barbecue sauce that
Oh
they
yeah.
have down there. And to me, I think that's the best. Now, I know that
Mm-hmm.
doesn't answer the question, but I've been to KC quite a bit, and Arthur Bryant's in KC is official. I'm talking official like a referee with a whistle, baby. That stuff was good. But I never had barbecue in Memphis though.
Oh, Memphis barbecue. When I was driving a truck, oh my
Yeah.
God, Memphis barbecue is, whoo, it's the bomb. That's all I can
Yeah.
say.
Hey man, like I said, I don't know if I've ever met a barbecue I ain't like. So
Mm-mm. They,
But
I just
out of your available choices, I'd probably say KC. I'm gonna answer the question. I won't skate it. I'll answer the hard questions. Hey, I will be at the Tennessee game.
oh,
I won't miss that. I think I saw somebody ask me that earlier. Yeah, I will be at the Tennessee game. Um, only home
uh,
game I think I won't make it to is South Carolina because I think that's scheduled for 11, and I got an 8:30
oh,
game in the morning, so I won't be able to catch that.
Sooner in Texas has he says Rodney Anderson did a pod where he called his brother Nick Punkin. Does Mike Jr. have an embarrassing nickname you want to share with us?
I don't know. I, I don't know if he has any nicknames. You know, I I mean, I call him Knucklehead a lot. Um, but we didn't start with the nicknames like the middle one, his younger brother Marcus. We call him Bubba. Um, I don't know. I think that started from our neighbors back in Tennessee. Call him Bubba, and we call Cam. We call him Cam Cam or Killer Cam or all kind of name with that one. But yeah, I
Shotty
don't know if
said
I really got a nickname.
Shotty said you need some of this barbecue from Red Clay State of Georgia.
Yeah. Hey, so my wife used to go back every once in a while. And I can't remember that. Was it might have been countries down in Columbus, man. Yeah, she would bring some of that yellow barbecue sauce back. The mustard barbecue sauce. It's good.
Well, now I will back Shotty up on this. I stationed in Georgia when I was in the military, and brother, yeah, they know how to throw down on the grill.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So there used to be a I'm probably gonna go off on a little tangent right here, but
Go ahead, brother.
there used to be a guy on Sand Hill. Well, Sand Hill is where all the new recruits come in, and that's where us as drill sergeants we would train them. There was a guy up there by the food court. He was a barbecue. He'd have to bring his barbecue up there. He would make barbecue. His name was Big Baby. And let me tell you something, man. Big Baby used to throw down. So we used to hunt a lot of pigs, and he would always tell us, he's like, bring him a hind leg and a quarter, and that he used to have that wild. A lot of people don't like to eat that wild hog, but man, oh man, Big Baby did it right. He make
Oh
them
yeah,
little pulled pork sandwiches. Oh, forget about it.
yeah, yeah. My brother, I was talking to him earlier today, and a lot of guys when they kill a wild pig here, they'll gut them out and they'll take them to the car wash. They won't use the soap, but they'll use that high pressure wash and get that junk out of their cavity, and it makes the meat taste a hell of a lot better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. No,
Uh,
that's why I mean, I was man, we was killing pigs for real down there. I'd donate most of it, man, because I just couldn't. We actually had there was a time where we could we were my buddy he lived right off Fort Benning, but we were trapping them down there like left and right, man. It was crazy. It was such a good time because hunting season never stopped. You could hunt them year round,
uh-huh.
day, night, however you wanted to. It didn't even matter. It was so much fun.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's same way in Oklahoma. They're a nuisance, so we can kill them year round. It don't matter. And
Yeah.
if you own your own property, you don't have to have a license. Just shoot them.
Yeah.
You know, speaking of that, there's a video on YouTube. It's down in South Texas. There's a dude with a 5 gallon bucket of tannerite, and there's some
Yeah.
pigs around it, and he sets that thing off, and them pigs go about 20 foot up in the air. But
Yeah.
anyway, Mike,
Boogeyman.
getting
Yeah.
back to the getting back to football, we kind of went. I like stuff like this, Mike, because I've told you before, my shows are never scripted. I tell my guests You don't have to have a filter. You don't have, you come into my show, just be you. If you want to cuss like a sailor, I don't give a doggone about the
Hey,
YouTube Albert.
hey, man, I've been in the military for 20 years. I cuss with the best of them.
Oh, I know you can. Yeah, when I first met you, when you said you was a former drill sergeant, I kind of got PTSD.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But
I cuss with the best of them. I
but
actually,
like
I
go ahead.
surprised myself a little bit that I don't come on here and just start floating f bombs left and right. I've actually done pretty well.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm. I'm Mike. I'm only in a guessing game because this is our first year in the SEC. But OU has played the SEC in bowl games, et cetera, et cetera. So you know, I've been saying all season, or even before the season started, that we'd be 9-3 or 10-2. But I'm shooting at the hip saying that. I mean, because anything can happen, and I don't know about the 10-2, but the 9-3, I think on the floor, I think I'm pretty spot on about that.
Yeah, I think I always felt that was a comfortable prediction in my opinion. I've always felt that like I said, a tough call or a bad break either way is a you know is a 10-3, 10-2, 9-3, 8-4 area right there. I mean, there's a lot of tough games on there, so I've
Yeah.
always felt like 9-3 was the good point.
Now, with that being said, with the schedule that we have, would I be disappointed if we went 8-4? No, I wouldn't be. You know.
And I said that at the beginning of the year. Like I wouldn't be upset with that at all, man. That's a brutal schedule, and I think that would year one in the SEC. Yeah, I think we'd be disappointed. But
Hmm.
am I calling for the head coach's job? No,
No,
not at all. Get
no,
out. Let's be
no.
real now.
I mean, I'd have to see an OU for play consistently like they did through that god awful decade of the '90s before I'd be calling for a head coach to get fired.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But I just don't. I don't see Brent having that kind of team thrown out. And I tell you what, you know, if you look at Oklahoma's history, and I'm
Mhm.
just going to get historical here for a little bit. If you've noticed from uh, from the Benny Owen era to when Tom Stedeman first took over in the late '30s, there was a long twilight there. Stidham was starting to bring us on the up and up, and then World War II happened.
Mhm.
And then we went through a little phase through World War II. I don't think anybody had a good team through the World War II era because they was cycling in and out soldiers in and out of college, and you couldn't keep a consistent program. But
Yeah.
Bud Wilkinson brought it back, and then after Wilkinson, we went through that long phase until Barry Switzer came along in 72, 73, and then we
Yeah.
was back on top. Switzer resigns. We go through that terrible '90s. Coach Stoops comes along and wins us a natty. So I'm looking at the stars, and from a historical standpoint, that we've as far as natties and national championships go, I'm looking at the historical value that this team is long overdue, and I think we're going to be overlooked this year.
And I'm just fine with that. They can overlook us all they want.
Oh yeah. Sooner in Texas, the reason I admitted Chuck Fairbanks is he was a 50-50 coach. He won a Orange Bowl, um, tied Alabama in the Blue Bonnet Bowl, but he never did win the national championship. So I kind of overlook him, but I think he won a Big 8 championship once or twice. But anyway, Mike, you know Oklahoma is its most deadliest when take for example that 2014 Alabama game in the Sugar Bowl. Everybody from here to Japan had Alabama beating a dog snot out of us, and we won it. And so I like it when Oklahoma's back is against the wall like this.
Yeah, I listen, man. Everybody can jump on that Texas bandwagon and make the popular pick or the easy pick, but maybe it's because my son plays for Oklahoma, but I just don't see Texas as having. I don't see their team warranting their rankings of where they're at right now, and I think some of that. I think some of that will get exposed this Saturday against Michigan. Like they lost too much. Whether they win the draft or the transfer portal, I just don't see it. Don't see it at all. Uh-oh. Did we lose Mike? Let's see. Did I miss any questions right here? It is the Brandon Click, Stephen G. You're 100% right. 100% right. Mike will get his Ryan. Mike will get his embarrassing nickname from his girlfriend, and most likely y'all won't want to know it. Yeah, he's getting a nickname as the Boogeyman. I like that. I think that's the one that's sticking. That's why I got this shirt on right here. It's the real Boogeyman. Yeah. Mike B, I'm curious, does your son like getting an INT or a big hat or big hit that causes a fumble more? I think he's the type of kid where he wants to hit. I think that's what he does. And we talked about it after the game, and I mean, I knew when he ran down on that first kickoff that he's going to try to knock that dude out. The guy that was trying to block him, he did it a couple times, and then it was avoiding. But yeah, I think he wants to hit. Don't get me wrong, a pick or a fumble is great, but I think he really enjoys that. Living life on the edge. Dangerous. He's back.
Yeah, I went ahead and jumped on my cell phone. I got my internet service back up, but I can go 4G and still. So you excuse the mess. I'm in the best place of the house where I can get a signal.
Yeah.
But like I said, I was going to say something about Texas. I've been listening to Texas is back for this will be my 54th Red River rivalry, and every year Texas is here. Texas is like that girlfriend that wears too much makeup, and once that makeup comes off, you see the ugly.
Yeah. 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 I don't know. I just they have to show me, man. They have to prove it, and they lucked up and made it to the playoff, and got beat by Washington. Oh well, like you guys.
Yeah.
I'm over it, man. I don't listen to anything anybody has to say about Texas because I can't. I don't know. I just can't take it. They're trying to tell me. They're trying to tell me to not believe my eyes and what my eyes
Right.
tell me, and I just can't do it. Like I can't do it. Can't
Well,
do it.
if you look at Texas, they still got a weak secondary, Mike, and they replaced what 14 players from last year. You
Yeah.
people cannot sit there and tell me when you lose that many players, whether it be to the draft or to the portal, that you can field a championship winning team replacing that many players.
Mm-hmm.
I've I I haven't seen it, and so I'm gonna. I hate to say this, but I'm going to go Missouri here. They're going to have to show me.
Yeah. 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 Yep. 100%,
And
man. I agree.
like I said, if they happen to beat Michigan, then I won't start believing. But I'll say, okay, you beat Michigan. Now, I'll tell you this, they ain't going to beat Georgia.
No, not at all. That's that. Yeah, they're not
I
beating
mean, they ain't going to beat Georgia. They might think they can, but they ain't. Because let me tell you something. Georgia right now is the team that's setting the standard in all three phases of the game. You know, offense, defense, special teams. I mean, Georgia is it, and it's going to be damn hard beating them this year, especially after what happened last season.
Mm-hmm.
And here, getting back to Texas, here's another thing people don't think about Texas. Quinn Ewers has never finished a full season. He always gets hurt.
Yeah. Yeah. He's got a lot to prove
Yeah.
to me. If he could consistently play like he played when they beat Alabama last year, he'd win the draft.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, I'll give him credit, man. He played a hell of a football game. They made Alabama look bad, and then they weren't the same. They weren't the same that same Texas team didn't show up week in and week out. But you
Exactly.
got
That.
to be more than one game, man. You have to. It's a whole body of work, and
Yeah.
I just feel like they feel like they crowned Ewers when he was coming out of high school anyway. But
Exactly. That. And what. And to allude to what your point is, Mike, they're inconsistent.
yeah,
Week in,
inconsistent.
week out.
Yeah.
And so anyway, Mike, we've been going a little over an hour. I know you got football practice today. Let me tell you
Yeah.
something. I always appreciate you coming on the show. You're part of the Sooner Legend family. We love having you. I'm going to tell my chat that we got 456 subscribers now. If you're not already subscribed, please consider subscribing to my channel. Mike is a mainstay here at Sooner Legends podcast. Steve Stutzman is going to be joining me probably next week. I'm going to have so much more guests. Guys, help me get to 500. This is the race to 500.
Hit that button.
Hit that button. Well, Mike, you take care, brother. And as always, love having you on. You're welcome on this show anytime you want.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you guys. Thank y'all for tuning in.
And thank everybody in the chat for jumping in. Steve G, Chicken, Shoddy, Sooner in Texas, Kimberly K, Killer Breeze, all of y'all. Thank y'all for dropping in. This is the legend. We'll catch you on the backside. God bless. Boomer Sooner.